Happy New Year. The Tennessee Titans off today, back on the practice field tomorrow, preparing for the regular season finale against the Houston Texans Sunday. Brian Callahan met with the media yesterday and said that both Mason Rudolph and Will Levis will likely play at quarterback against the Texans. The Nashville Predators were blanked at the Winnipeg Jets Monday, 3-0. They'll stay on the road visiting the Minnesota Wild tonight. Puck drop at 7 p.m. And the college football playoff resumes tonight in the quarterfinals. Penn State and Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl at 6:30. Tomorrow, Texas and Arizona State kick off at noon. Ohio State and Oregon play in the Rose Bowl at 4 p.m. Notre Dame and Georgia face off at 7:45. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Stores. 615-737-1045. It's New Year's Eve, so I figured we'd have a New Year's Eve question. What did you learn in 2024 about Tennessee Titans, about the football in general? And maybe what are some of your resolutions for the Tennessee Titans in 2025? We want to hear from you, 615-737-1045. And, of course, we have the F&M Bank Chat on Zone TV, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. And yesterday, we kind of talked about, Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, what the Titans should do, what they shouldn't do, and all this kind of stuff. And at some point, Blaine had asked me about, well, what about these rumors that Shedeur Sanders does not want, or Deion Sanders does not want Shedeur Sanders to come to the Tennessee Titans? And I was a little confused. I had no idea what he was referencing. And then I get in the car, and I turn it on, 104.5 The Zone. I'm driving down, and I hear 3HL start talking about it. And they reference a tweet from a Wesley Steinberg. And I have to immediately text Joseph and say, hey, that is a fake account. Yeah.
I knew it was a fake account.
Did he know?
But he did address it, though.
Yeah, he addressed it. But I mean, I was like, because you brought it up, and I'm like, what is everybody talking about? And before they mentioned Wesley Steinberg, they were talking about the tweet. And I had to inform them that it was fake. And you know what happened? We have to blame Jackson for this getting on the air.
What happened?
No, because Jackson sent it to the group chat between him for the Buck Rising Show group chat, and they talked about it on air yesterday. So we have to blame Jackson for this. He did not do his research. He did not understand this was a parody account. If he would have clicked on his profile, he said that it's ASMR Sports, which is not a real sports account. Right. And are we really trusting anybody named Wesley Steinberg knows what's going on in the Deion Sanders camp? You got had, Jackson.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Doing good. You want to defend yourself?
Oh, there's no defense. I messed up.
But it was just funny. So watch out there.
What Deion didn't follow up, though, he did say that with all the tomfoolery that goes with the NFL draft, he will be addressing this only to the people that needs to be addressed. Now, that doesn't mean it still won't get leaked out, good or bad, in favor or not, because they'll try to create this narrative so they can maybe get them or not. Yep. I don't know how much that works when you're 1 and 2 pick, but someone could be leveraging it to move up to get them. Right. I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see how it all parlays.
Here's what we know. Draft season is also kind of called Lions season for a reason.
Yes.
Okay? Here's what you should also know. And this has been my big thing. There's going to be rumors that pop up in the draft starting probably, January 10th. All the way through to, leading into the draft in April, sometimes even on, draft day. All that stuff is just noise for the most part. You kind of have to just filter in, take in some information, but don't treat it as gospel, right? Take in some information. Put it away for later. The last 2 weeks is when the real stuff comes out. The 2 weeks leading into the draft, that's the pivotal season where what is getting leaked is more than likely, not 100%, more than likely actually what teams are thinking, because the draft board is kind of always evolving a little bit, not by much, but it kind of evolves a little bit. But we got to make sure that you just don't fall for any more Wesley Steinbergs, for sure.
Well, I don't know. Well, you never know. Sometimes, whether it's a fake account or a real account or by a vetted media member, where information comes from now, which you have X. Whether it's true or not, sometimes you have to take it into account. That's kind of what I've learned over time. Sometimes they may have a little insight onto something, or maybe it'll just lead you down a trail of this was tomfoolery. So you got to take it into account. You don't know where it came from, but naturally, a lot of people, he doesn't rub people the right way in his style, and that's Deion. Be honest, just always hearing, how would Deion feel about and what he will say when he's with a team and how this is going to play out. I mean, if you really think Deion has that much clout in the National Football League as far as dictating how much his son plays or doesn't play or who drafts him, man, you guys are really fooled by all of this. Now, will he try to dictate and help his son go to a better fit in his eyes?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody that has children would not be doing the same thing.
I mean, isn't this just really
ridiculous.
the Sanders thing? Like, it's Deion.
It's Deion. People just don't like him for whatever reason. So I think it's more that. The Mannings did it.
Right.
Eli did. They did.
Nobody ever talks bad about that, right?
No, nobody did. No. So I just find it, really hilarious at the same time. He's going to be busy with college once the season starts in the NFL. If he has so much time on his hands, then he must not be winning games. If he can really kind of be a part of what's really going on once the season starts in the NFL. Now, will he have comments if somebody asks him? He may.
Yeah, he goes on those podcasts, right? I mean,
right, that's who he is.
Again, look at what, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here, but we got tagged in a tweet, right? I don't know if you saw it today, but we got tagged in a tweet, a screenshot of a user on X complaining about the offensive coaching game plan. And guess who liked it? Will Levis's mom.
Oh, I saw this.
Yeah.
I saw this.
So, I mean, she may not be saying anything, but she's saying something, right?
I thought it was Jackson's fake account.
That was Jackson's fake account?
I thought that was your fake account, Jackson.
Thought it was my burner?
Yeah, Jackson Steinberg.
I did, man. You little stinker. Yeah.
But, that's the same thing as what Deion's doing, but Deion's just doing it more publicly. He ain't, and that's because he's a public figure.
Right.
And he's got a podcast, and he's got a microphone in front of him sometimes. So it's a little bit more public figure than anybody else, but it's really not going to be, I really don't think it's going to be as bad as what everybody says it is.
I don't think so either.
I think it's very overblown. I think you're right. I think the biggest point is, Deion Sanders looks at these, I call them kids, but they're not really kids, they're men, but looks at these men like they're sons. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean,
even Travis Hunter.
Even Travis Hunter. So he wants to do best by them because you know what? He's been through all this. He's been through the business of the NFL, the stuff that we don't see behind the scene or in public, the dirty stuff, the dirty secrets. So he's been through it. So, but also he is a parent, right?
Yeah.
And I think as a parent, you are pretty protective of your kids, I would assume. 99% of parents would be. And at the end, I just don't think this is going to be as big a deal as it is. Are you going to have maybe some PR nightmares here and there that crop up if you draft Shedeur or Shiloh or even Travis Hunter and something happens? Yeah, you probably are. But that's just life in the NFL when you draft a player that's going to be in the spotlight as much as
especially at least number 1 or 2.
Yes, Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders will be.
Yeah. So we'll see how far it goes. I just don't think it's going to be as bad as everybody thinks.
Yeah.
He puts on this, let's say salesman act, Deion does, to make money. But if you really know Deion, he is not like that.
Right.
See, people don't know Deion besides what's in
they know.
the public.
They know primetime. They know the guy they've seen in the commercials. The guy talking trash. They've seen the guy that's in front of the media. They don't know. You see that.
Yeah. So
and that's what
this guy's a true salesman now, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it started in college, and man, he He's taken full blown with all of that from in the media after he was a player to now as a head coach.
Yeah.
And so it's been pretty awesome actually just to watch him grow into this as far as his leadership style, even at the college level, because I wasn't sure if it was going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wasn't. I thought he'd be a decent coach, but never, thinking he was going to win 9 games and be part of a playoff. But to think that, he was going to have this kind of success and this kind of mouthpiece to really show everybody. I'm going to use this example. This is what I'm really saying is that, did we hear very much about Deion Sanders this year?
We really didn't.
Right.
There was that one thing at the beginning of the year where he banned the reporter.
Okay. Now,
that was it.
But why do you think we didn't? I'm going to tell you why.
Because he's winning?
Yep, because he was winning. But when he was losing in the first year,
yeah.
Everybody was all over the media. Oh, now he was winning. All of a sudden, we don't hear very much from Deion. We still hear him, but it's not a everyday, every week occurrence because he was winning. Isn't that weird? The media really wanted him to fail.
Yep.
And he proved them wrong. So, just certain guys just have that it, and he always got it. And it doesn't matter what realm he's in, from media to player to now coach.
That's true. Let's go to Jay in Jacksonville and wants to talk about quarterbacks. Jay, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Doing good.
What's going on?
I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener. I appreciate you guys on the show.
Thank you.
For Will Levis and for the whole Will Levis, Mason Rudolph playing at the same time, it just really don't make any sense to me because I feel like, okay, if you didn't think Will Levis was the guy, then okay, you just probably should have benched him for the rest of the season and kind of like Mason Rudolph finish everything on out. That's kind of my opinion on it. The other thing is that it seems like a preseason game, like you're letting both of the quarterbacks play. I'm like, it really don't make any sense for me. I feel like, okay, well maybe he's just giving them a chance to maybe like put something on tape for like other teams because I don't think either one of them is the quarterback that he actually wants. So I look at it as maybe he's just giving them both a chance to play to maybe get some tape out there on them because he probably he really don't have a chance to. He really don't want them to be the quarterbacks anyway. So that's kind of my opinion on it. I would love to hear what you guys think, and I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks for the call, Jay. Yeah, it's really weird because also Cleveland is doing the same thing. Dorian Taylor-Robinson and
Winston
Bailey Zappi are
Bailey
going
Zappi.
to be have a chance
Winston's
to both play. I've heard that maybe it's going to be Jacoby Brissett and Joe Milton going to be rotating in and out of New England.
Guaranteed Patriots W.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, it's very it feels like these are 3 teams that are just, I don't know.
Three bad teams?
Yeah, 3 bad teams for sure. I just don't know. And it seems like 3 bad teams that may be trying their path to play to lose, I guess. Coach to lose.
Where was the Browns ranked in the draft? Where are they?
4th, I think. Maybe 5th.
Oh.
So they're right there. So it's there's teams that seem to be they're 3rd. So there are teams that seem to be angling to try and quote unquote see what they have for the future while knowing that none of these guys are in their future plans. Is that how I would say it?
Yeah, you better than me. I'm not. I'm more of a straight shooter, and I would say these slide dogs are all trying to find a way to, dare I say, tank.
This
is the version.
Playing to lose.
That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
It's a version to say we are competing, but we aren't because it makes no sense. I'm just looking from the Titans' view. He had already passed on and moved on from Will Levis, and to go back to Mason Rudolph is just kind of weird. So I'm interested to see how this parlays out because if it looks kind of fishy from all 3 teams, by the way, the NFL may get involved. You better be careful.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. When we come back, we're going to talk more about that. We're also going to get to your all's 2025 Titans resolutions and what you learned in 2024. We have a few in the chat being dropped. Of course, you can answer those questions. 615-737-1045. This is covered too with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 1045 The Zone.
Hey, folks, you know I've been talking about Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance for years because they're the leading experts in sports medicine and performance and the team physicians for the NFL, college, and high school athletics across Tennessee. And TOA provides sports medicine coverage to more high school and college sports teams than any orthopedic group in the state of Tennessee. They have 29 locations throughout the state and over 100 physicians throughout Middle and East Tennessee to take care of all your musculoskeletal needs. And TOA has 11 urgent care locations with walk-in availability 7 days a week. They offer direct access to sports medicine and performance, physical therapy and nutrition, and personalized rehabilitation plans to enhance mobility, reduce pain, and improve overall physical function for patients recovering from injuries or surgeries. And TOA also offers sports performance training, a specialized program designed to enhance athletic performance and provide tailored training solutions for athletes at all levels, even Jackson. So please check out their services at TOA.com. Yes, that's TOA.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors, closing out 2024 with a bang. We want to hear from you. What did you learn about the NFL world when it comes to 2024? What did you learn over the year? Something new, maybe some new thoughts that you probably gleaned from what you've seen either from the Titans or the NFL at large. And then, of course, what are your 2025 Titans New Year's resolutions for the team? We're going to kick it off. We're going to go to the F&M Bank chat over on Zone TV, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, and Stoney Keeley, frequent guest of Football and Other F Words. He goes, what I learned about the Titans in 2024 is that if you have 6 right tackles, you have none. And he goes, my resolution for the Titans in 2025 is to coach better, play better. A little jab. There, a little sarcasm right there.
That was a staple of head coach Callahan.
Of Vrabel right there.
No, that's Vrabel.
So at the end of the day, I kind of wanted to talk about some stuff maybe that I learned and everything. But before that, we were talking about playing the quarterbacks and
that was weird.
Quote unquote tanking, right? Like, I mean, it feels like they're tanking, but we have no real confirmation. I do say I wonder how long that injury list gets as the week progresses and who's declared out and all that kind of stuff.
How does this parlay in the locker room?
Yeah.
You see how he poo-pooed that question?
Yeah, like, I mean, all that kind of stuff. So, like, my thing is that, like, you don't want to play Will Levis, right? I know that he said that he's going to play too. And listen, Will Levis has lost you a lot of games. But this very much feels like it could be a backfire kind of deal where Will Levis, because you said it yesterday, he just slings it sometimes. And what if those slings connect and you are suddenly find yourself with a lead at the wrong time?
You just don't know. It could go the other way too. But man, he is one of those wow to what the heck are you doing? He is that guy. So I'm interested to see. I'm excited to actually see him play, but I don't know how much why he's going to have. He may try even harder if he's spot playing like that. He may even try harder, and that could lead to mistakes. So we'll see.
You never know.
You don't know, man. Man, it's just scary, man. I think he's playing. He's rolling the dice. I would have stuck with Mason at some point.
Well, it just seems like a high-risk scenario that I wouldn't. If I was really trying to do it, I don't know if I would do it. Now, Jackson has got the clips that you requested off air about Brian Callen talking about. And what specifically was it about?
Well, his reasoning for why now he's going to split the quarterbacks and play Will Levis as well as Mason.
So here's Brian Callahan on that.
I'm actually going to probably play both of them, to be honest. Let those guys both have a chance to play. Don't know what and where that looks like. We're still really early in it, but I think both guys will have some opportunities. I'll let you know by the end of the week, starter, all that stuff. But I think both guys should play some football at the end of the year.
What's the reasoning behind that?
I just like to let them play, let them both have chances to play. I think Mason did some good things in the game. Tipped interception was unfortunate. But I do think that, let Will get another shot at throwing the ball around a little bit and playing some football. So, he's been really professional in his approach, how it's all gone. I think he's, earned a right to go play a little more football. Just because of the way he's handled the whole process. I got a lot of respect for it. And he's been really professional in all those things. So, get a chance to go play a little bit more.
So, I mean, there you have it. And then we've got another clip that follows up with that clip to give us some more information. So Jackson's going to play that.
Well, I think at the end of the day, we didn't win, we didn't win those games. So I think that's all part of it. And, I don't think there'll be any issue with that. I think they're get a chance to play some ball and see if we can't put together a good performance. And, maybe it's a situation where guys playing well, just let him play. And if he's not playing well, we'll let another guy take a chance at it. So it'd be different had we won 2 games in a row with Mason, and I'd probably stick with him for the last game. But we hadn't. We are where we are with our game performance and our record. And we'll let those guys, have a chance to both play.
I mean, man, Blaine, I don't. I wouldn't play Will Levis, and you shouldn't have even opened up the door that he could possibly play. But I wouldn't play him because he does have, as much as we bag on the turnovers and everything, rightfully so. He has the higher upside. You just never know when he's going to connect on one of those throws that usually turns into a turnover. We've seen him connect on them.
Yeah.
And we've seen him beat the Texans. I mean, he was part of the reason why they were able to beat the Texans. He also threw a pick six that game, but you can't be relying on turnovers to try to lose this game if that's what you want to do. I just would play Mason Rudolph and be done with it. I mean, why even put yourself in this position?
I'm with you, but naturally I said I would have stuck with Levis till this game, and then when I would have made Mason Rudolph. So he did the total opposite here, and now he's rolling the dice here with the gambler himself, Will Levis. I think that's his whole issue. He reminds me of a young Brett Favre. Mm-hmm. You really can't contain him, so you try to say, let's just try not to make as many mistakes. And sometimes those mistakes can turn into some wow factor. And that's what, got him here in the second round, and that's actually what got him on the bench and then now back. So, he may have this mechanism as a quarterback now because most athletes do. What do I freaking have to lose now? So that could work in his favor and against him.
Yeah.
Just like who he is, the gambler. He's like, well, you benched me, so I'm going to go out here and I'm going to just gunsling it then. I'm going to throw all balls that I want to make big plays and go out with a splash. Guess what? If I throw a deep ball and it's picked, oh, freaking what? I was like a punt. So he may take more risk. And it could play in his favor, whether it's a pass interference, kind of gets you down the field, spot play, may make a play, or could be picked. In his eyes, there's no way he loses on a deep one. Now, if he starts dinking and dunking and then he starts trying to run the offense in this system, then he may make mistakes. And, it's always interesting because when I watch Levis, it's going to behoove me this whole time, this offseason, if in a different system, will Levis be a much more productive player and not just a backup quarterback, but an average starting quarterback in the National Football League. I can't wait to see what happens with that.
Yeah.
And that may take a year or two, but can he be that? Because in certain systems, I think he can.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you're going to win a Super Bowl, but that's hard to say. I mean, you're in the AFC.
You can't say that about 30 quarterbacks, right?
Right. So it'll just be interesting. I'm sure he's excited about it. I'm just really interested to see how much they actually play him. And
Because
it's not like they put him in to just
because
run
it's
the
the
ball
thing,
or something.
right? You're talking about him being in another situation because that's more than likely what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be trying to put stuff on tape that looks good.
Yeah, well, I think he's going to have this will and dealing that, what do I have to lose? I think he can't hurt it any more than it's already where it's at.
Yeah. But that's really kind of what he's needed to play with, right? He's been in his head the whole time. He needs to kind of have played with this, devil may care attitude for the most part, because I think he's been in his head too much.
No, I look at it the opposite way. Okay. He's definitely been in his head too much, but it worked against him because he was trying to do exactly what they asked him.
Yeah.
So then it wasn't in his head. He was trying to be systematically run the offense. Well, that's not who he is. So to be honest, I think he tried his best to be who he was until he failed and had the 3 interceptions. They said, this is enough. You can't do it. I think now that's why he's going to take this attitude.
Yeah.
What do I have to will? Now he's not in his head. Guess what now? He is going to play free.
Right.
He doesn't care about making mistakes because he's already made what do you have many pick sixes he had? He's leads the NFL, right?
He leads the NFL.
Why not? Well, I'm going to still lead, and guess what? I can continue to lead if I throw another one. Oh, well, I'm going to roll the dice. I think we're going to see a different one. They better be careful. He may end up winning this game. I don't know how much they're going to play him. Especially, they're going to know the first time he goes out there what he's thinking. Because they're going to call plays, and he has control. Guess what? He is the one on the field. Check. Blue 33. Go deep. I'm going to throw it to you. We're going to go home a winner. Yeah.
You say Brett Favre. You know who he really reminds me of? Who? James Winston.
Well, the entertainment factor is not there.
Yeah, he doesn't have the sense of humor and stuff that we
He's
were
right on that line, though. Maybe because I'm a little old school.
Yeah.
They're the same, somewhat similar.
And that's the thing. Like, we've seen Jameis Winston kind of have success, but he always is. Doesn't matter what the system is.
Yes.
Doesn't matter who the coach is. He always has some. He's like Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
You're either Fitzmagic or you're Fitztragic, but you're going to be both at some point during the season. I really think that's where Levis is gonna end up falling, is that guy that can come in and maybe he wows you for a few plays and then you kind of get games. And you kind of get fooled for a little bit, then he just goes and crashes and burns, just like Ryan Fitzpatrick and just like Jameis Winston.
I think that's who he is. You're right on point on that. So we don't know which version we'll get.
Never know.
Not for an entire game. He said he's going to rotate.
Right. I mean, that may actually work to his benefit, right? We saw it in preseason. It did.
I don't know, man. So I think I
just wouldn't play him.
I want to go. I want to watch this game just for that factor.
That is one of the more interesting aspects of this game. I mean, you're right. Is like, what are they going to do at quarterback? What are they going to do with, Will Levis and Mason Rudolph? If Will Levis starts throwing interceptions and pick sixes, do they just keep running with Will Levis and never put Mason Rudolph back in? Because that's kind of what I would do if I was quote unquote tanking.
So if he throws a touchdown,
then you got to yank him.
And then, and then the next series is not out there. What are you thinking?
Yeah. Oh, you know what they're thinking.
This is hilarious.
Can the NFL prove it? That's the question. But at the end of the day, you got to think, okay, Calvin Ridley wants to hit 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Okay, so how much does he play?
Well, we got to get him his 1,000. How far is he?
80-something yards, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh.
Okay, so he's close. Ooh. And then you look at, will Tony Pollard be healthy this week?
Oh, because Tony Pollard's not playing.
Okay. He needs 59 yards?
59 yards.
59.
Oh, is that it?
Oh, 59. Oh, no. Pollard may, because Tajay Spears is out.
Yeah. So do you roll with, I think, like a Jabari Small and Julius Chestnut out there?
Oh, I think
Does Julius Chestnut just play the whole game? Hey, listen, we got told all offseason, and I've been told a couple of years now that Julius Chestnut's a really good, running back. So let's see it.
Oh, he's a good three. He's a good three.
But put him out there. Put him out there.
Well, that's how, that is the version of tanking.
Yes.
That's what I said. You play your backups. And you got good excuses for all of them.
Right.
So
you really do.
You
you don't let Tony Pollard practice because he's already out. He didn't practice all last week.
Play Tony Pollard.
Just keep it going.
I wouldn't even dress Tony Pollard.
Amani Hooker, same thing. No. He was out last week. Yeah. Don't play him this week.
Nope.
Hey, Big Jeff, I know that arm's been hurting you. Let's give you a rest. Yeah, this is a meaningless game. You don't need to play this game, Big Jeff. Why don't you go ahead and get that surgery?
Yeah, definitely I wouldn't address Big Jeff, but Big Jeff may ask to play, so then they may be in a position where, we're going to have to limit your playing time.
Yeah, we got to limit. We'll have to put you on for a couple of series. Tavondre Sweat's been playing through injury. He's already mentioned for a couple of weeks now that Tavondre Sweat's playing through injury. This is a good time. Man, we can't get a rookie second rounder hurt. Better limit his rotations.
He's a young buck. He got to play.
Yeah. You think you got to play?
A young buck got to play. We got to finish.
I'm just trying to make sure that we have all the avenues covered to make sure that as many people aren't seeing the field as much as possible.
Is Dylan Raiders going to come back from his injury?
It doesn't matter. That's even the bigger question. It doesn't even really matter.
The offense still looks the same regardless who's at quarterback, who plays offensive line. It doesn't matter.
Hey, listen, maybe NPF is active this week. He was inactive last week. Maybe Duncan's got injured. They put NPF in. There you go. There's an easy path to quote unquote tanking, but have valid reasons for it.
Yeah, I think they got him.
Yeah, they got him in spades. I just wouldn't play Levis. Don't risk playing Levis.
Ooh.
Is this going to be the first time that in that stadium that Titans fans boo if they score a touchdown? Do you think fans will actually start booing if they score a touchdown and get a lead? Or do you think the fans that are there, the real hardcore fans, and they're like, no, we want to see this team win. We don't care about draft position. That'd be interesting.
I don't think they're gonna boo unless it's at the end.
At the end,
it affects the outcome there.
Yeah.
Where they're just doing no huddle and they get down there and they score a touchdown. Because there's no way around it, especially if you move the ball down the field instead of just say run the ball instead of trying to throw the ball to get down the field. So I don't know, man. It'll be some conflicted fans. That is for sure if it's close.
I think it will be. Let's go to Zach in Mount Juliet who wants to talk about the draft. Zach, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Oh, Zach.
Hey, guys. A big fan of the show. 31 years old. I've been a Titans fan my whole life, so I've grown up with the team my whole life. Blaine, I watched you growing up. I've seen the ups and downs and everywhere in between of this organization, just like any fan that's local. Mine is more of a concern going into 2025. I wanted to run by you guys. In my opinion, it's not necessarily who we draft, but who's doing the drafting. I know some people are out on Carthon, Callahan, Brinker. Some people are in. It was about week 13 or 14. I'm kind of more out on them, but hindsight's 2020 if they keep this staff for next year, which is what it's looking like. My scenario that kind of worries me that I wanted to throw out to you guys is, say we keep this staff and then they're going to be on the hot seat next year for sure. What happens if you draft a young rookie quarterback, Sanders or Ward, and by week 7 or 8, they're going to kill the development of that quarterback because now you're prioritizing your own job security. And we see it all over the NFL. You know, you make quarterback changes mid-season when coaches' jobs are on the line. That's a scenario that just kind of worries me, that we may be at 4 wins again next year, and then you've also killed the development of any rookie quarterback that you draft with that pick. I wanted to know what y'all's thoughts were on that, and that's just a concern I have for next year, and how realistic could that be?
Thanks, Zach. I mean, it's always a possibility, but I go to say this: if you are able to somehow ruin a quarterback in year one, that guy wasn't ever going to be the guy that you needed anyway. But the best, my big thing is the ideal scenario is vet quarterback that can win you games, and you sit one of these quarterbacks, whoever you may draft, whether at the top of the draft or maybe even the 4th or 5th round, if you find a quarterback that presents you better value and you want to build your team via Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter or whatever may happen, then you need to have that vet quarterback that can win you games and allow the young guy to sit on the bench. Because this, first off, here you go. This is what we'll get into. This is my lesson learned in 2024. And this is a lesson that the NFL has shown us repeatedly over the few years, but there have been no better examples than this year. Mm-hmm. Development isn't linear for quarterbacks. Fit matters most. And just because it worked for Jaden Daniels and Drake May and, to a lesser extent, Caleb Williams, but just because it worked for some quarterbacks like Bo Nix to start right away, which they won those jobs. So that's still a possibility that you have a guy that comes in and wins these jobs. Doesn't mean it's going to work for this one. For every example of a quarterback starting out right away and starting hot, there's a million examples of, a quarterback sitting behind a vet, learning and coming out just as good or better their second year. So to protect your investment of a young quarterback, for this particular draft class, because it's not as good as last year's draft class, is to find a path to make sure that, A, you don't feel compelled that you have to draft a quarterback. You want to draft a quarterback. So you need to make sure that you have a plan in place just in case you don't get that guy. Because there's a real possibility that if they go into the season not signing a Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins or insert vet name here, that a team jumps them and drafts Shadur Sanders. Right? There's always that possibility. So you got to plan that Shadur Sanders in your offseason plan is not available at your pick, unless you pick number 1 overall.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're in an interesting time because I really want to see the thought process of the coaching staff and then how that matches with ownership. Now, I say that because their objective as coaches is to save their job. Mm-hmm. So they're naturally going to be thinking, we need to get a veteran quarterback. And we need to survive, and we need to be, somewhat competitive and, win, half of our games. Some 7 and 9, 8 and 8, just be in the middle. Now, at the same time, do you sign a veteran quarterback and still, let's say you're the number 2 pick. This is all a, case study here. And they're the number 2 pick. Do you still take a quarterback, or do you trade out of it because you're a team that needs a lot of talent? Do you have a trade partner? That's all starts there. Yeah. It's easier said than done. And then get multiple picks, or do you stick and stay and take your future quarterback knowing that he won't start unless the starter gets hurt or if he's not playing well and you give him a shot and you think he's somewhat ready? So these are all ideas that they actually, it could all play out that way, but they may not want it to. But does that then still save their job?
Yeah, it will depend. I mean, again, it comes down to what's the conversations behind the scenes. Like when they're putting together these off-season plans and having these grand discussions, because there's going to be a lot of discussions around the quarterback position. Who's involved? How much is ownership involved? And how much of that is she on board with this plan? because
a realistic rebuild plan.
A rebuild plan. This is a rebuild.
Yeah, rebuild plan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, like, she has to be on board and has to understand that, hey, you know, you got to have these things in place, and we have to make sure that there's job security, because you don't want to get into that cycle of rotating coaches and rotating schemes if you choose to draft a young quarterback. So you don't want to get in that rotation. So you want to have development. You want to give your investment the best chances to succeed. And this is a high
So if
investment.
you're rebuilding, are you taking a quarterback?
I am. Now, there's a caveat to that. It's not like I'm taking it no matter what. I have to have conviction he's the guy. Okay. And if you have conviction, you don't want to draft it just to draft it, is my big thing. You don't just draft a quarterback to draft a quarterback. You draft it because you have conviction. Now, in the 4th or 5th round, you should be looking, in your 6th round, you should be looking at a quarterback. You should always draft a quarterback, in my opinion. At least 1 year late round picks, you should always be using on a quarterback every year. But at the end of the day, if they have conviction in Shadur Sanders, if they have conviction that he is the guy, he's the perfect fit for this system, you have to take him. Because you don't know what your opportunity is going to be next year. Because then you may be picking from one of the top 2 quarterbacks in a draft class to maybe picking from the 5th best quarterback in a draft class. Because maybe Derek Carr comes in, or Matt Stafford, or Kirk Cousins, or Justin Fields, or Russell Wilson. Any of these vets come in, Sam Darnold, come in, and you suddenly are like, you're out of the quarterback race. And then you're going to have to spend more draft capital to move up to get a guy. And you don't know what those draft classes look like. I mean, how many times have we seen that, next year is going to be even better quarterback draft class, and it kind of stinks. You just never know. So you have to have, whatever you do, whether you are the front office, whether you're the ownership, whether you're the coach, you have to have conviction. Because if you don't have conviction, you're setting yourself up to fail. And you're setting up this franchise to fail. You have to have conviction. There you go. That's my little sermon for the day, I guess. When we come back, we'll get to more of your phones. We got Tim, Sean, and Downtown who wants to talk Tennessee Titans. We also have Coach Mac coming up in hour number 2 for his weekly Mac Attack, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, Southwest Rose Ford dealer. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 if you want to get in on the conversation. And we're going to go to Tim, who wants to talk about the quarterback situation. Tim, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, what's up, hard-hitting Blaine and Zach?
What's up?
We bring the phone.
Hey, man, I'm going to go on and be real with y'all. I'm a diehard Titans fan, man. I've been a fan since we was over at Vanderbilt, man.
Yeah,
and to be honest with you, man, I'm still living in the Super Bowl era, man. I'm still mad. You know how they let a team break up like that when we could have had a chance to go back. You know what I'm saying? But to get off that subject, let's get back on the quarterback, because I'm still in my feelings on how they. I think we're cursed, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because the way they did my boy Eric McNair, man, a man that laid his body on the line and then locked him out of the stadium and wouldn't let him come in. And look how many quarterbacks we done went through since then. The last actual relevant quarterback we had was Terry Collins with C.J. Touquet. And we lost that first round in the playoffs to the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, no love for Ryan Tannehill?
Well, I mean, Ryan Tannehill was all right, but
he's better than Terry Collins, Tim.
Yeah, he was. But
for a couple years there, Marcus Mariota wasn't too bad.
Yeah, 2016 Marcus was really good.
I just think they're trying to find another Steve McNair, and they're picking in the wrong schools.
Gotcha.
They tried it with Vince Young. You know, Bud Adams, being from Texas, he wanted to do all his draft picks out of Texas. I mean, yeah, we got some good players out of Texas. We got Michael Griffin. We got a few good players out of Texas.
T'Vondre Sweat?
Yep, T'Vondre Sweat. I'm talking about back then.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to have a hard time getting a good quarterback. And as for Shadur, play here, don't draft him. Don't draft him. Don't go after him. And I don't even want Cam Ward. If you want my honest opinion, what we need to do, we need to, Marcus Mariota, we need to bring him back home. We could get him on a cheap deal. He signed a 1-year contract with Washington.
All right, Tim. I'm sorry. I let you go. I let you go on too long. You've really you drowned in your take there. You lost us.
Oh my gosh!
And they do not need to bring back
your
Martin.
head fell off after you said that.
I was like, I know that unlike Buck's show, we let our callers just talk. That time I probably should have helped Tim out. I probably should have helped Tim out there and ended it earlier.
Zach, sometimes to go forward, you must
have to go back.
2 steps back. Oh, good job, Jackson.
I should have helped him out. I let him, gave him too much leash there.
Oh, man.
Let's go to Downtown, who wants to talk about Tennessee Titans. Downtown, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, y'all. I wouldn't say I'm on team blow it up. I'm on team got to give Callahan and Carthon, affectionately named Ranahan, another shot. But I just don't think it's possible that you can give them the ability to select a quarterback, whether it's number 1 overall or number 2 overall, if those cards play out, mainly because it's just too much of a gamble, and we have way too many pieces around us. And I think if there's a situation where, let's say, the Raiders want to move up, for example, and we can still build solid pieces around here to set us up to see what happens next year, you're in a situation where if these guys really aren't the team and we're picking high again, we're set up in a really good quarterback situation in 2026 for a draft. That'll give us the ability to evaluate, what's really going on with the coaches. But I just don't think at this point in time they've proven that you can entrust and give them the keys to the castle here.
So you're preaching stability, but saying that you don't trust them to pick a quarterback.
Exactly. Well,
so then why keep them if you feel that way? Well, shouldn't you be on team clean house then?
I wouldn't be on team clean house because I think it's franchise suicide. And I think at that point, we already are never in the top tier of team, looking for top coaching talent. It's hard to attract that. I think canning them being one and done in this situation is just setting fire to the franchise. So I think you're kind of in this situation where we took a swing and it didn't work. So now what are we going to do? I don't think you can double down and give them the quarterback, selection this time.
Gotcha. All right, thanks for your call downtown. What do you think about that?
That was really interesting because he made me think about something like, okay, if you don't trust in them, not me, but if he doesn't trust in them, in general, and you don't trust them to draft a quarterback, then they shouldn't be here.
Well, then why are you going to trust him in 2026 to draft a quarterback?
Which he didn't want to do.
Yeah.
So that was kind of conflicting there for me.
To me, that's how I feel. Like, I mean, listen, I'm not saying you have to feel one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? But like logic, 1 + 1 = 2. What he was trying to do is 1 + 1 = 5. Like that's what's going to change your mind in 2025 that they can get it right in 2026? Is it just need more evidence? I guess. I mean, like I don't know, but if you don't trust them now to draft a quarterback, then what you're saying is that they can only draft a quarterback if it's an obvious quarterback. Like you do not trust their scouting ability unless a generational quarterback falls in their lap.
Yeah, that one there, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
He could have went with, the Titans having developed a quarterback and the odds of the quarterback being a franchise.
One. Like say, hey, I think Brian Callahan's a good coach, but I don't really trust Rand Carthon and Chad Brinker, in that way. But it just, I don't know. That one didn't really make sense to me. When we come back, we'll get to more of your phones. We'll get to Ryan and Aaron and get their thoughts on the Tennessee Titans. Of course, we got Coach Matt coming up as well. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop, Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Hour 2 of Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045. If you want to give your 2025 Titans New Year's resolution. And, of course, we have the F&M Bank chat on Zone TV, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. We're going to go straight to the phones. We're going to go to Aaron, who's been waiting patiently to talk about the Tennessee Titans. Aaron, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
How you guys doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there like a loose tooth. My thought on the quarterback situation, hey, no quarterback wants to throw from their backside. That's the biggest thing. At number 2, either fall in love with an edge rusher and use later what second-round pick you have to shore up the right side, or trade back and find a left tackle and kick JC back to the right. Solves 2 problems, 2 birds, 1 stone. I don't know any quarterback in the NFL, and I don't know any of them personally, but I don't know any of them that want to play behind that offensive line. So I think as shiny and as fun as a new quarterback would be, I think you need to shore up front and build around whatever quarterback you sign and or attempt to draft at some point. And that's just my thought on the whole situation. Unless you fall in love with Travis and he somehow falls to you, which I highly doubt, I think at that point you look up front and say, hey, we have more problems up front on both sides, on the edge and up front on the offensive line. Fill those holes, fill those gaps, and then kind of take your next step either next year or in free agency. That's my thought. I'll listen to you talk. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Aaron. I kind of look at it like this. There's multiple different ways to fill some of these needs. So I get what he's saying, but the problem is that there's not a lot of true, pure left tackles in this draft class. We all just need to start coming to grips with that. I mean, there's a guy like Josh Simmons, that is coming off an injury, like we were talking about yesterday. Ohio State. Okay. Coming off a major leg injury. But he's a true left tackle, but there's not many true left tackles in a situation. So this idea that you can automatically get someone, a left tackle, and then automatically switch, J.C. Latham back over, I think what we need to kind of understand is that they drafted J.C. Latham as a left tackle. This draft is not going to present them with a true left tackle that's probably going to be better than J.C. Latham year 1 at left tackle in the NFL. So I think we need to be under the impression right now that whatever tackle they draft is going to be on the right side. If that's the way to go, they may bring in a Jedrick Wills. They may bring in a Cam Robinson or someone else that hits free agency like that, a Ronnie Stanley. And maybe those guys force J.C. Latham over to the right side. But as far as how the draft class is shaping up, I don't think you're going to find a true blue day 1 starter at left tackle. I mean, that's just kind of at your draft position. Unless
a lot of people saying that the left tackle or just tackles in general are more middle of the road to end.
Right.
So to me, if that's the case, even going to the second round and it's not a big difference, I'm probably taking that tackle in the second round if I'm going tackle. Now, I never know. They may do a monster trade. I'm not going to put anything outside the table here. What could possibly happen?
Right.
But who would trade, a left tackle unless they're at the end of their I guess, contract, maybe a year, and they're unsettled, and maybe they say we're not going to pay him. He's up there in age, and guess what? He probably has 1 or 2 years left, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So do you do that, and then you give up more draft capital? Probably not.
Yeah, that's the thing with this draft class, because like Kelvin Banks, right? He's probably the best offensive lineman in this draft class, but also so is Skoronski. And Kelvin Banks is said to have the power and the punch and the push of Peter Skoronski, and he's actually smaller than Skoronski. That's not going to work at the NFL level at left tackle. It may work at right tackle, but is that really what you want to roll the dice with unless you trade out of the top 2 picks? At the end of the day, draft order has to be finalized for these discussions to go full born. But at the end of the day, this tackle class, like the Missouri kid, Anthony Belton out of NC State, Josh Carnley from Oregon, those guys are second-round talents that are probably way better value and way more prone to success in the NFL at tackle than some of the guys that are up at the top.
Right. That's why I would go second, third round,
That's where I'm
bring
at.
in a veteran, by the way, who has shown he can start. And if it doesn't, the guy's not quite ready yet. Now I have my insurance policy to make sure that, guess what? I can get by the season, not worry about right tackle.
There's a lot of double dipping they're going to have to do in free agency in the draft because that's the situation that they're in right now. They have to double dip at some of these positions. They're going to have to double dip at edge. They're going to have to double dip at quarterback, and they're going to have to double dip at right tackle right now. I mean, you need to find, you need to find a solution for year one and then a future solution in these drafts. That's just how it's going to have to work. I know. It's tough.
And that comes with not sure on the security of your job.
I know. It's tough. This is going to be a tightrope for them to walk. Let's go to Ryan, who wants to talk about the Titans draft. Ryan, you're on with cover 2 with Blaine and Zach.
What's up, guys? Happy New Year.
What's up?
Happy New Year, yes.
So I want to talk about the draft. You know, I'm hearing all these people talk about the draft, and, you know, obviously athletes win you football games. So if you're picking that high in the draft, you have to go get the best athlete on the board.
Yep.
Hopefully that's Travis Hunter. That's probably not going to be the case. So you get the next best athlete in the draft. And then, you know, go get a veteran tackle to help with them guys, maybe a veteran quarterback, and see what happens. Want to get your guys' take on that, and Happy New Year, guys. Y'all take care.
You too. Ryan called in the right show because I am team game wreckers and playmakers if you don't have a conviction about a quarterback. I mean, that's just where I'm at. Like, you need to get an Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. I would even take, I don't know if I'd take Luther Burden. Like, at that point, you're choosing between Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. Take one of those guys if you're not convicted about a quarterback. In the discussion for me.
Yeah, well, I think that kind of answers it all for you. And how deep is the wide receiver draft? You know, maybe not get someone as talented as Hunter, but you can get that defensive end, which you need. Imagine the defensive end with Landry and Key as the rotational player. I think then you say, okay, at least for a year, you can get by with that group of pass rushers.
And maybe Abdul Carter's good enough to make Landry look good because, you know, that's when Landry's at his best, when someone across from him is playing at a high level.
So I think I would probably lean into there, especially if you understand that you're trying to build foundational pieces for this rebuild. And this must be discussed, and you start in the trenches. And so only thing left now, really, well, you got Cushenberry who's going to be out, so how do you manage that until he's back? But is the right tackle. We've already discussed that with a veteran drafting a guy second or third round. So I would probably lean on the pass rusher because it's a more impactful player. Mm-hmm. Is Travis Hunter the best player in the draft? Yes. That doesn't mean he's going to be the first pick. You had to learn that over time. Naturally, quarterbacks are valued much higher, and I'll be interested. I know wide receivers moved up, and I don't know if he's going to be wide receiver DB. A lot of people say DB and part-time wide receiver. But where does pass rusher still parlay outside of the quarterback? I would say it's number 2 right behind the quarterback. And then maybe you're talking about left tackle and then wide receivers probably in the top 4.
I would agree with that.
Positions.
Let's go to Jack in East Nashville who wants to talk about Tennessee Titans. Jack, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Well, to me, it's real simple. If they don't fix the whole line, I don't care if you trade for Patrick Mahomes next year. He's going to get killed back there and run for his life 90% of the time, just like everybody else has. I'm not convinced about Shadur. He's a very slim-built man at this point, and I wonder what is he going to be without his dad and Travis Hunter out on his own. So, to tell you the truth, I'm just done with the whole thing. They want me to catch a WeGo bus from God knows where across town, pay a couple $100 and a ton of money for the concessions to watch this with no guarantee at all it's going to be any better than next year. Mm-hmm. And, oh, by the way, take out a second mortgage for tickets to the new joint. I'm done. Until they can sell me something that's worth buying, I'm done with it. I really am. And that's all I got to say.
Well, there you go. Jack is done with the Tennessee Titans until they give him a worthy product on the field.
Well, I mean, I would say you could sell a new
sure there's a lot of people
he did say Travis Hunter or, the coach or whoever else is missing. I mean, we could say that about every player. especially at the quarterback position. You never know how those things are going to play out once they get to the National Football League. But if he has
except for Joe Burrow, who got Jamar Chase,
right?
because
right. By the way, speaking of not having a line, Joe Burrow, both his tackles are out.
I mean, really, Patrick Mahomes does not have a very good offensive line this year either.
But they are special. And for a while now, I think it's about 4 quarterbacks that's in the AFC. Lamar Jackson. Let's go down. There's Josh Allen. That it's going to be hard to get by those guys unless they are not actually playing. Knock on wood, I don't wish anybody getting hurt. But if they become a missing, then you will have your shot. So in the meantime, let's build the team. So, man, I don't know if I think I'm trying to trade the pick. I'm leaning more and more to that. I don't know how valuable and how deep this draft is, but I know I have a lot of holes. And I have a lot of them to fix, and this may be my time, and maybe my bridge quarterback is going to be on a 3-year plan, and then over the next 3 years, I need to find, hopefully, a gem. Maybe I take one in the second round next year or the year after. But I just, man, putting a quarterback behind that offensive line to that caller's point, it's going to be tough. Now, we hope they are better.
Yeah.
They should be better, but we don't know that they will. I'm going to say this. And I've kind of hinted around. I don't know how the best offensive line coach in the National Football League, to me, has made this line better. Latham has the last 5-6 games. I don't know, man. Now, we could talk about who he's going against. I feel like maybe he's hit a rookie wall. We didn't get the right tackle fix. I think Latham is going to be good. But the last 6 weeks, no. I don't like what I saw.
Yeah, he was better the prior week to the Jacksonville game, but then he took a step back this Jacksonville game again, and he's got some technique issues he's going to have to work on. But that's good. But at least you know going into an offseason what he has to work on to get better at the next level. You'd like for him to have already been a finished product, but we kind of knew that the only clean offensive tackle prospect that had no issues whatsoever was Joe Alt, and he got taken ahead of you.
Right. Well, what I'm talking about is coaching brings progress.
Yeah.
He's digressed.
Yeah.
And so as the season gone along, I wanted to see what he's doing now, maybe in the beginning, and then progress basically as the season goes along, especially when you're, high profile, how talented player like he is. So not to say he won't be really good, but man, I don't like what I've seen here the last, 5 weeks. He should be better. I think he would even say that.
All right, let's go to Coach Mack when we come back. Brought to you by Two Rivers Ford. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop, Zach Lyons here, 105 The Zone.
Stinky, stinky, stinky. Is that what it was like the last time you were at an auto repair shop? Smelly, greasy old rags laying around? A countertop that you would not dare touch? Another thing that stinks is the repair shops that keep your car forever and they're not honest and they don't call you back when they say they will. Was that your last experience at a vehicle repair shop? Well, hey, it's Blaine Bishop to tell you about Eurofix, who takes the stink out of European auto repair. And at Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit and not high-pressure sales tactics. And at Eurofix, you also get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And you never pay dealer pricing. Family-owned for 26 years, located all over the place in Tennessee, starting in Franklin, Hunted Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can just visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always on Blaine's job.
It's Tuesday. It's 2:20 p.m., and you know what that means. That means time for the weekly Mac Attack with Coach Mac. You can hear him on Titans Radio every Sunday, and of course, you can hear him on Mac Talk after 3HL right here on 105 The Zone, and of course, Mac Talk's over, so that makes sense because I guess it's New Year's Eve. Who wants to do Mac Talk on New Year's Eve? But let's do this. Let's go to Coach Mac, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, South's most trusted Ford dealer, and Coach Mac. I mean, I don't really know where to begin with this Tennessee Titans team, but I guess I want to talk through the decision to possibly start both quarterbacks in a game or play both quarterbacks throughout a game. Have you ever experienced anything like that in your NFL tenure?
Well, not on any teams I've been with. I've had games where two quarterbacks have played, but not planned. Of course, clearly, because of injury or because of something that happened in the game. So I'm going to be interested to see how it works out. I'm going to be interested to see, how it divvies up during practice, and then to see if it does come to fruition like that on Sunday. I know that just looking ahead, like we always do on Titans Radio, because you've got to be ready for all the elements. I mean, it looks like it may have some snow flurries, and it may be a little bit of wind and inclement weather, so it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out.
I will say one of the positives I took away from this game, and there wasn't a lot, but one of the positives I did take away was the run blocking, the run game, and the run design of the Tennessee Titans offense. What did you see from their ground attack that made it look so effective and worked so well throughout the game?
Well, they've been able to run the football, fairly decently. I said, all year, and they've look, the schemes that people use in the National Football League are pretty much the same. I mean, you can look at it, how they're set up, what they're set up, but most everybody is running a combination now of an inside-outside zone or a G scheme system, and then if you've got a running quarterback, have an RPO. Put with it. So what that means is that most defenses, especially at this time of year, have seen these things. Then it just comes down to a matter of execution. So to your point, I liked what their execution was on most of the plays that they had on the ground against Jacksonville last week. That's what I liked.
We're on with Coach Mac, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford.
Well, Coach, we've seen the rise of a couple players anyway, at least the tight end, Okonkwo. And what have you seen that has changed? I don't know if it's just the quarterback or, being behind or what, but, man, it seems like he had this little bit of a run, too, last year towards the end of the season, the last 4 or 5 games. What do you see out of Okonkwo?
Well, I think the thing that he's really doing well, in my opinion, just watching the game. I don't go back and grade the film. I mean, I don't have time to do that with what I'm doing now. But just watching him, and to your point, in the last few weeks, he's very, very good. He's very good at beating man to man. That's number one, because he's a powerful guy. And he's very good at doing that. He's a good combat catcher. And the other thing that he has really done well in the previous weeks is his run after catch stuff is really good. He is hard to bring down when he has the football. Very seldom do you see him tackled real early. I mean, he's not a spot tackle guy. So, and again, some of the things, anytime somebody supposed to play a zone defense, he has gotten very adept now at being able to discern 2 deep, 3 deep, 4 under, 3 deep. Very able, has been very smart about the way he's finding holes in zones. And that's a big part. That's a big part of playing tight end. You see the tight ends across the league, and where they are used. And they're mostly used between the numbers. And you have to have that skill set of recognizing how the defense is going to lay out for you once the ball is snapped. I think he's gotten a lot better at that, Blaine. And I really like his run after catch ability.
Man, after this horrific season, Coach, disappointing season, let's say, who are some of the young foundational pieces, I guess, that you would say off to a good start and have look forward to having a promising career? here with the Titans?
Well, you've had to play a lot of young players for a lot of different reasons, because especially as the season has gone on, you're seeing a lot of L'Jarius Sneed. I mean, this guy's been put in some really tough situations. I mean, the matchup he had last week. I mean, he's getting baptism by fire. Both those big catches that he gave up to Brian Thomas Jr. He was there, just didn't make the play. Now he's got to get better at making the play, in those types of situations. But he's gained a lot of real valuable experience. I think Peter Skoronski has done a nice job this year of settling in at the guard. And then, of course, we know what the situation at the linebacker has been. And those guys, James Williams, Cedric Gray, those guys are getting a chance to play. Now, are they ready yet? Are they ready yet to step in and be frontline players? No. But the fact that they are getting this kind of experience you just can't manufacture. And then, I mean, I really would like what Tyjae Spears has done in his second year, sans the injuries. I mean, he's had, now this is his second concussion, but he's had injuries. But we've seen in the last couple of weeks that when he is healthy, this guy's a legitimate back in this league. And, you can keep both of those backs healthy with he and Pollard, then you've got something. Then I think you've got something back there. Pollard's not a young guy, but I think, you've got something back there. But there's been, by necessity, a lot of young players that have had to play. And the fact that they've had to play, regardless of what level they are playing at, you can't manufacture the experience they're getting.
Well, Coach, I would love for you to summarize this season. I know it's not over, but only the way Coach Mack could summarize it and kind of give us in a capsule what this season has been, and actually tell us some positive things that we can say that we can look forward to, man.
Well, I think the young players being able to play. It's been disappointing. It really has been. And the one thing that I will say is there's been a lot of self-inflicted wounds on this football team this year. And I'm talking about the turnovers. I mean, anytime that you lead the league in turnovers, you are giving yourself, regardless of what your roster looks like, very slim chances to win on a weekly basis. And then, I think early in the season, it was disappointing because you gave games away. You gave games away by one or two plays that were just completely out of the norm. Now, if you get beat by a better football team when you're in the first year trying to put something together, I understand that. But to me, the disappointing part of it, and I know it is for them, and it has to be, you're not giving yourself really an even chance when you lead the league in turnovers. That's a huge issue that you have to solve.
When you watch the Titans, even in the rain early on, do you see anything with the quarterback in the play calling with Mason or Levis that is changed or a little bit different?
No, I mean it's the play call is different week to week because of who you're playing against. I mean that's always going to be. You know that you've been in a lot of game plan rooms, and so that's but both of these guys, if they operate this offense, it's got a chance to move. The thing that you can't do, and you look at it. Yeah, there was one turnover last week in a one-score game against two teams that didn't have a lot of wins between them, but the one turnover and then the inability to be able to stop them with that sudden change was the difference in the ball game. Zach brought up they were running the football very well. All of a sudden, Tyjae goes out. That hurts you some, but you're still in the ball game. But it was not only the turnover off of the deflection. It was a deflected, turnover, but you had a chance to stop them on a sudden change defensively, and you didn't do it. That's the one touchdown that ended up being the difference in the game.
There you have it, Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack.
Coach Mack, when we're talking about this season, we've been talking about progress because the NFL.com is talking, said that feelings inside the building that this team has shown progress. And fans don't feel like there's been enough progress. And obviously there hasn't been enough at a high level because of the record tells you what's going on. But where are some areas that maybe the normal, fan or viewer wouldn't notice that there has been progress made by this Tennessee Titans team, whether that's players or staff throughout 2024?
Well, and again, when you're coaching, as I did for a long time. I mean, I don't know all the nuances of the progress, but I would know them exactly if I was living with these guys. But what I can say is there are players that by the amount of time that they're getting to play, but progress in this league. And again, we're all judged in this league when we're in the guts of it, like players and coaches are that are doing it. It's by wins and losses. So anything that you say as far as progress is going to be looked at, out of the side of your eye if you're not winning ball games. So to me, and this is what I'm sure they are focused on. I haven't even taken one look at anybody in the draft. I don't do that. Rhett and I won't start for another 2 weeks because we'll get the guys looked at and talked about, but we're not going to draft one single player. But I do know this. That's what they've been doing, the personnel department looking at, because this is going to be a very important draft for this group coming up this year.
Well, I know. I mean, you say you haven't, started doing your draft, process and everything, but I know that you're big in TCU games, and I do have a question about 2 TCU players in Jack Beck and Savion Williams because they're really good wide receivers. I mean, do you have any thoughts on them, or is it a little too early to talk about TCU football?
Zach, I'm always going to be honest with you guys and with our listeners. Other than being frogs, that's all I know about.
Okay. Well, that's why I wanted to ask. But, the team is obviously not really, as far as the players go, thinking about draft right now. The fans are. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to this final game, obviously if they lose, they get better draft position. If they win, the players get they get a win under their belt, and they get a win, maybe a tiny bit of positive momentum. What are you as a coach in this kind of situation preaching throughout the week to get this team prepared for this final game?
You just work to win. You work to win. Really, you asked a guy sitting right there with you that was a really good player that really fought hard for wins and fought hard for a career. The only reward, and it's not money, it's not the cars you drive, it's not anything. That's not the reward of being a professional athlete in the National Football League. Those are accessories. The reward is winning games. So that's all you do when you're in this business. You focus on winning games. So that's what they'll focus on this week.
At what point when you're the coach on this final game, you got your veterans that played all well, you got Calvin Ridley in, shooting for that 1,000-yard milestone, but you also got all these young players that, you would like to maybe see more of. Do you kind of treat this as I don't really like calling it a preseason game, but do you kind of treat it as, man, we really want to see what we got in these young fellas, let's put them out there?
Absolutely not. You play to win this game.
Gotcha.
You play to win. You play to win this game, and then in the off season you start worrying about the rest of it. But you're playing. You're preparing and playing to win this game. That's the bottom line.
So they're going to be playing the Texans for a second time this year. Obviously, we don't really know which quarterback is going to play and how much they're going to play and all that kind of stuff. And the same thing with the Texans on their side. D'Amico Ryans has been talking about everybody's got to be ready to play and kind of talking about, trying to get people into a rhythm, doesn't know how many people play. Does that affect how you prepare for a team like the Texans? Because, obviously, I guess you're just, you're preparing for the scheme, right? Not the players.
Well, you prepare you prepare like everyone they have is going to play.
Gotcha.
I think you have to prepare, and I think you listen to what D'Amico said earlier in the week. He said they're all going to play, and I believe D'Amico just like I believe Dan Campbell last night. Dan Campbell was in a situation where that ball game last night, as far as to what they were going to have to do, really didn't mean anything. The game that they're going to play next week against Minnesota is going to mean everything as far as seeding goes. This game right here, they've already got the Texans have their 4th seed already wrapped up, but it makes a big difference because they're not going to have a bye. So I think it even makes more sense for him. And again, I'm not coaching his team, but it makes more sense for him to play his guys because they're not going to get a rest. They're not going to get a week between, and plus they're coming off of a game that they've had a long time to rest from that they did not play very well at all against Baltimore. I think all of those factors, figure into it. So I would prepare for the best that Houston has to offer when they show up here.
All right. Well, that will do it for us here. Wait, Blaine, you got another question?
Yeah. I just want to ask him a couple questions here. It's just kind of fun-loving questions here. First and foremost, with the quarterback, when you have a young quarterback, a rookie quarterback, what are the key components that you must have around him to make sure his development, and nothing's 100%, as we all know, that he's at least can stay on the right track, with the pieces around him?
Well, the thing you got to know is first of all what's his personality and how he's going to be able to handle adversity. Because if you've got a young quarterback, and especially if we're talking about young quarterbacks, we've seen evidence of this. I mean, I've seen it my whole career. Young quarterbacks that are talented, that are drafted to somewhere they're not quite complete roster wise. Well, they suffer until that roster can get caught up to what they need. So you always want to be able to build your roster and be sure you've got a roster built for the quarterback. And then you've got the quarterback himself has got to put himself on a developmental stage as to where he is. If the roster's not set exactly, then he's at least able to mitigate that until that catches up to him. And then display, what he can do. What you want a young quarterback to do, you don't want him to be in a position to where he is just helpless and can't do anything. And you also don't want a young quarterback to come into it where he starts trying to do too much. And by doing that, he not only hinders his own development, then he starts losing games for you.
There you go. Now, here's my fun question. There's two questions that's combined. Outside of the Titans press box in the stadium, what team has the best food and the best press box this last season?
Houston Texans.
Whoa, well, why? You got to give us the why.
They are set up like you're getting ready for a spread for a wedding reception. It's unbelievable.
Oh, what kind of food?
They're any kind. You got barbecue. You got fajitas. You got a whole buffet line set up. You got a whole huge candy section. They've got a huge ice cream sundae section. They've got the best setup in the league.
Oh, man, you just made my mouth water. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
I tell you what, every time we go up there, I don't go in there because John McClain's the first one in there.
Oh, my gosh.
The legendary John McClain.
There you go. Thanks, Coach Mack. Happy New Year. I hope you have some fun plans today.
Happy New Year's Eve to you guys. Appreciate you both. See
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, that's Coach Mackey. You hear him on Titans Radio every Sunday, and he's brought to you, of course, by Two Rivers Ford, South's most trusted Ford dealer. When we come back, I give you my resolutions for the Tennessee Titans in 2025. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. The final segment of 2024, Blaine, is upon us. And, what better way than to give you my resolutions for the Titans of 2025, whether they want to listen to this or not, that's up to them. Put the egos aside would be one of their resolutions. They need to put the egos aside. As far as it's players over plays, you got to start maybe adjusting for the players that you have, not the players that you wish you had.
Ooh, that's always tough there.
I know.
Oh, my.
I came off the top rope right at the beginning.
You did, man. You stunned me with that one. My resolution for 2025 is to create a realistic rebuild plan and not one that is just competitive.
Yeah, no half in, half out.
Build a solid foundation. Yeah. And that starts always in the trenches, and probably need a little more draft capital. How can you get that?
Yeah, that's the big question, is how you can get it. And all eyes will be, of course, on this game, also on the Patriots game, right? Ooh. Because if the Patriots win, you get to go up and you lose against the Bills' backups. Josh Allen will play like one series so he can get his official start sheet, start stat. Okay. Because, he wants to, he's got those consecutive starts record that he's going for right now, so they want to play him for maybe they just play him for 5 plays or something. I don't know how much you have to play to qualify as a start, but then you go, I would say if they win, the Patriots, and you lose, you're up to number 1. Wow. And the world's your oyster.
Wow.
That's just what I'm saying. You could do whatever you want with that pick. You have total control over your destiny, over other teams' destinies, how you approach the offseason. It's a very important thing. You have to, even at number 2, pretty important, but number 1, that's a game changer, right?
Man, I don't think the Titans have ever been number 1. Have they been number 1 in their history?
They've been number 1 and they traded out.
That's right. That's right. We traded.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that year. Yeah.
And that was a big year where you got a lot of building blocks for this team.
A lot of foundational
because
pieces.
You traded back.
Yeah.
But you had a quarterback then.
Yeah.
That's the big difference.
You still don't have the quarterback if you do trade out. Man, and you better hope you can ride with that bridge quarterback for a little bit longer than you expect, because you're probably not going to have a high pick unless you then have a lot of collateral to trade up to get it down the road in a couple years. So, man, golly, you have to take a quarterback.
I mean, excuse me, it depends on how they look at this free agent class. I mean, you probably have to take some kind of quarterback. I mean, maybe not necessarily the first. But I look at it, Blaine, and I don't know, the chat hates this. I see it every time we bring up his name. Derek Carr is probably your quarterback for 2025. If I was betting money right now, I think I'd be putting money on Derek Carr. Now, I think that's the best of a good situation, or best of a bad situation, I guess, because Sam Darnold's likely not to hit free agency, and if he does, you may get outbid. Maybe you don't, but possibly you do. But I look at the Derek Carr situation and provides you so much flexibility, right? For those that are not enamored with this draft class, then for you fans. So I'm going to throw some fan perspectives out there. If you're not enamored with this draft class at quarterback, well, Derek Carr is your solution, right? I mean, he's not a long-term solution, but he's a solution that buys you some time till you find a quarterback class that maybe you like as a fan. If your team stability, this is the guy that you probably want to have, because he's going to bring stability to the offense. He's going to bring stability to the locker room because of his leadership and stuff like that. So this is that. I mean, I kind of look at it like it's he's going to be pretty inexpensive. And he was actually having a really good year before his injury this year. I mean, he's still, to this day, and he has not played in a few weeks, has the 11th best QBR, not passer rating, but QBR, based on efficiency, which is a metric this team loves, in the NFL. If people think that he wasn't having a good season, he was having a good season. I mean, he's not a great quarterback, but you're not really looking in free agency. You're not going to find the great quarterback.
I know you keep talking about Derek Carr, and a lot of people are, but Where is he at with his cap number? Are we sure he's going to be released?
Oh, yeah.
Because I know they're going to have a new coach.
Right.
You know, so, and then one of the coaches says, you know what? We'll redo his deal and bridge him to our next guy because I don't like either one of the backups, Rattler or the other guy.
They're in cap hell.
Right.
And that they're a team that needs to hit the reset button. And I think that is the messaging coming out of the Saints is that they're hitting the reset button.
Yeah, but where are they with the pick? Where they're picking?
Give me one second. I'll look at that. But either way, I'll say this. If you keep him past a certain date, you guarantee $10 million more of his salary than you already guaranteeing. So you can restructure, but then you're kicking money down the road.
Oh, they're good at that, the Saints.
They're good at that, but they're tired of it. Yeah, they're done with it. And that's why they're in this mess, because they kept doing it. And that's the messaging coming out of the Saints. The Saints currently are 10th in draft order. So they're still in the top 10. But if they cut him with a post-June 1st designation, means they can cut him now. He can go sign with another team, and they get these cap savings for the rebuild. They save $30 million.
Oh, that's why.
So if they're in rebuild mode, they're going to need that $30 million for not this coming offseason, but for the next offseason, because they're going to be in rebuild mode. So I look at it like this, like
highly probable he's going to get cut there.
Right, exactly. So I also look at it like this: if you like Shadur Sanders, Derek Carr is a great guy to learn from while you're on the bench, and he's a guy that can keep him on the bench, barring injury, with his play. And my other resolution for this is for Brian Callahan that ties into this: find the quarterback and open it up. No excuses. This is your chance to find a quarterback. Don't handcuff yourself to one that you don't believe in. And open up this freaking playbook. Bring in the modern offense that you keep wanting to talk about, and open it up. Don't bring in below average quarterbacks. That's kind of where I'm at.
Well, I actually thought Mason was, based off what he's shown with the Steelers, was a little better than average backup quarterback. I would say he was be a solid guy that could be potentially a bridge quarterback, and that came to be not. So I'm not so sure if it was him, the system, but he looks nothing like how he did with the Steelers. And nowhere near it.
I think getting out to early leads with those Steeler games, because they typically did down the stretch last year with that defense and run game, he didn't have to do much in those games.
But he wasn't throwing as many picks as he's throwing now.
Probably not a lot of opportunities to, but again, I mean, he's being asked, when you're being asked to maybe do more, you probably are being asked to be be something you're not.
Yeah. Above what your talent is willing to take you to, and then you're forcing things, then that's how you get the turnovers. But we shall see a lot of time for the talk on the quarterback.
Yep.
So it all end after this weekend.
It will. I mean, we'll have a lot of definitive answers come a week from today. We should know about the coaching staff. We should know about, obviously, the quarterback situation, draft positioning, the front office. We'll know at least where this team is going and what questions they have left to answer.
Who is the starter of the game? That's something we should have talked about. Okay. Who's the starter?
Okay, I'm going to say Mason Rudolph starting Series 1. What are you saying, Jackson?
Will Levis, Series 1.
What about you?
Will Levis.
All right,
Let's
so 2
run,
Will Levises, 1 Mason Rudolph. Listen, if they really want to embrace the tank, sign Trevor Siemian to the active roster and play Trevor Siemian.
Oh, my. Play all three of them, right?
Play all 3 of them. What the hell? Why not?
My.
But, why not just go ahead and play Trevor Siemian and let him start?
Oh, my. Please don't let that happen.
Someone on Buck's show a couple of days ago proposed Trevor Siemian should get the start the rest of the way and should be the quarterback. Well, didn't he say quarterback in 2025, Jackson?
An opportunity to be the quarterback in 2025. I thought Buck was going to rip all of his hair out.
I think he was pulling his chain.
I was in the control room with Jackson. I was just cussing.
He was pulling his chain, wasn't he?
No, that guy was serious.
Dead serious.
Oh, no. Siemian's
dead serious.
Siemian's is done. He had his time. He peaked some years ago. His time is up.
That will do it for us. We're closing out 2024 with Trevor Siemian talk, just like we all predicted at the beginning of the year. We'll see you guys next year. This has been Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. 3HL's up next. And in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace.